made it this far, take a deep breath. This moment is yours. Maybe you've been feeling out of place, as if you don't quite fit in this world. Maybe your heart is tired of trying, of holding on, of waiting. This channel is still just beginning, but every person who arrives is special. Here, you matter. Your pain matters. Your search matters. And what we want is to offer you a space of peace, where you can simply exist, without rush, without fear, with faith. Sometimes, the feeling of not belonging weighs more than loneliness itself. We look around and it seems like the world is moving at a different pace. But there is a place where the heart finds rest. A place where there's no need to prove anything. No need to pretend to be strong. A place where the soul is welcomed just as it is. Prayer is that place, a shelter in the midst of chaos, a flame burning in the dark. And it's to that sacred space that we're going now, with calm, with honesty, and with the hope that better days will come. Mary, today my heart carries a weariness that's hard to explain. I try to fit in, to smile, to keep going, but inside there is often only silence. It feels like the world moves too fast and I just can't keep up. There are days when I don't feel like I belong anywhere, as if I'm always on the edge, searching for a place where I can simply breathe. Look upon me, Mother. Calm this restlessness I can't control. Hold my hand when I feel unseen. I'm not asking for ready answers. I just ask that you walk with me, even when my steps are slow. Just knowing you're with me already makes the burden feel a little lighter. Sometimes, Mary, loneliness weighs heavy even when I'm surrounded by people. There's a kind of emptiness that noise can't fill, that distractions can't erase. It's an inner silence that echoes, a feeling of not belonging, as if I'm always watching life from the outside. I try to smile, I try to adapt, but inside, everything still feels slightly out of place. I don't want to lose myself in this feeling. So I ask you, don't let me wander alone in the dark. Walk with me as I search for meaning, as I seek peace. Show me that even when everything feels disconnected, there is an invisible thread still tying me to hope. May your presence be that thread, that gentle light guiding me back to myself. Mary, there are days when even faith feels distant. I try to pray, but the words slip away. I try to trust, but my heart wavers. And still I remain here, eyes closed and heart open, hoping that you hear me even in the silence. Because deep down I know your love doesn't ask for perfection, only sincerity. So even in my fragility, I offer you all that I am. Every doubt, every fear, every dream I've tucked away in the quiet corners of my soul. Stay with me, even when I can't feel you. Your presence is shelter even when I don't speak, even when all I can do is take a deep breath and cry in silence. Mary, there are moments when everything feels too heavy. The days drag on, my thoughts blur, and my heart feels like it's slowly sinking. I try to be strong, but sometimes I just wish I could rest, without having to pretend everything is okay. I just want a place to let go of this weight, without needing to explain. Let your silence cradle me, Mother. Let your peace gently spread through my chest like soft relief. I'm not asking for solutions right now. I just ask you to stay close while life settles down. Your presence alone gives me breath again, and slowly, maybe I'll start to believe that good days are still waiting for me. Mary, I feel so small in front of the world. Sometimes I carry the weight of not being enough, of always feeling a step behind, of trying to fit in, but always sensing there's something in me that just doesn't quite adapt. And it wears me down. It quietly drains me, makes me question my worth, my existence, and what I have to offer. In those moments, all I long for is a sign that it's okay to be who I am, even with my differences, even with my silences. So I ask you, welcome this feeling that runs through me. Sit beside me at the edge of this tiredness, and just stay. Your presence alone calms me. Your tenderness teaches me that there's beauty even in those who walk a little slower. Show me with your gentleness that I don't need the world's applause to have worth, that the simple act of existing, of continuing, of trying, even while tired, is already a form of courage. And that even when I don't recognize myself in the mirror, I can still find myself reflected in your gaze. You know, Mary, there are days when the world just feels too loud. Voices shout opinions, expectations, pressures, And I stand there trying to find myself in the midst of it all, trying to understand who I am beneath so many demands. And the more I try to please everyone, the more I drift away from myself. The heart starts to grow quiet, and what's left is this sense of emptiness, of being out of sync, as if I've lost the road and now I'm standing still, unsure where to turn back. So today, I don't come asking for answers. I come asking for shelter. A place where I can just be me, where I don't need to wear masks or pretend to be strong all the time, where I can rest who I am in your hands and remember that it's okay not to always have it figured out. It's okay not to know. It's okay to just breathe. May I find in your gaze a piece of heaven that welcomes me just as I am. And little by little, in the quiet, may I remember what truly matters. Mary, sometimes I wonder if there's truly a place in this world where I belong. A space where I don't have to reshape myself to fit, where I can breathe without fearing rejection. I try so hard to fit in that, little by little, I forget who I am. And the most painful part isn't the loneliness on the outside, it's the one within. That feeling of being surrounded, yet still invisible. Today, I'm not asking for answers, only for direction. May your presence go ahead of me, opening the paths where my feet still hesitate to step. May I no longer feel the need to run for acceptance, but learn to walk at my own pace, trusting that there is a place where I am awaited. May that place be your embrace, and there, may I rediscover what the world has tried to erase in me, my essence, my peace, my faith. Mother, there are nights when sleep won't come. My mind spins with thoughts I can't silence. I question if I'm on the right path, if I'll be able to bear all of this, if one day any of it will make sense. And in the midst of that storm, loneliness sits beside me. Not the absence of people, but the lack of connection, of true affection, of feeling like someone truly sees all of me. In those moments, all I ask for is your presence by my side, even if in silence. Hold me gently, without hurry, stay with me until my soul begins to quiet. And if possible, Mary, light a soft flame within me. It doesn't need to be a blaze, just a small light to remind me that I am not alone, that love exists, that God hasn't forgotten me, and that this season, like all things, will pass when we walk with faith. Mary, there are days when my chest feels too tight to hold everything I'm feeling. Old sorrows, lingering doubts, long waits that now ache. I try to hide it, to keep going with a smile on my face. But inside, all I want is to pause for a while, to rest my soul somewhere it can simply breathe. And that's why I come to you, not to ask for everything to be fixed, but so I don't have to carry it all alone. Let me rest under your gaze. May your tenderness wrap around me like a gentle blanket on cold days. Help me accept that it's okay not to be okay, that fragility doesn't make me less, and that even in pain, something sacred can unfold. May your presence teach me to welcome myself with more love, more compassion, more calm, because with you, even what hurts can become a prayer. Sometimes I wonder, Mary, why everything feels so hard, why some dreams always seem just out of reach, why life insists on testing what little strength I have left. There are days when I try so hard to keep my faith alive that it becomes almost a whisper inside me. Small, but still there. And today it's that whisper I offer to you. I don't have grand words, but I do have the desire to keep going. There's a thread of hope in me that I don't want to lose. Help me take care of that thread. Teach me not to let go of God's hand, even when everything around me tries to convince me to give up. May your presence be the reminder that even when nothing seems to be moving, heaven is still working, and that peace can come slowly, like someone who gently honors the time a wound needs to heal. Mary, I try to be strong, but sometimes all I long for is someone to tell me it's okay not to be, that I can cry without shame, feel lost without guilt, take a deep breath and simply exist, without all the answers, without having to constantly prove that I'm okay. Because some days, I'm just not. So I stay here in silence, with my heart open before you, not to ask for great miracles, but simply to feel that I am seen, that I am heard, that I am loved just as I am. Remind me, with your gentle presence, that I don't need to rush, don't need to compete, don't need to fit into molds that don't belong to me. All I need is to be real, with myself, with God, with you. And that is already enough to keep going. Some days, Mary, what weighs the most isn't what happens around me, but what happens within. It's the quiet self-demands, the thoughts that won't stop, the feeling that I'm not doing enough, not being enough. All of it builds up in my chest as if I were carrying the whole world inside me, and my body begins to tire. Today, I don't want to fix everything. I just want to rest in your embrace, like someone who simply needs a pause. Teach me to forgive myself for the times I've been too hard on me. To recognize that being kind to myself is also an act of faith. That I can move through life more gently, with less haste, with more compassion. And that in your presence I don't need to pretend, because you know me completely, and still, you choose to love me. Mary, there are moments when I feel out of place even within myself, as if everything is misaligned, what I think, what I feel, what I do. I try to manage it all, try to keep things in order, but sometimes all I find is a silence that wraps around me like emptiness. And deep down, I just wish I understood why I feel this way. So distant, so disconnected, so alone. I no longer want to fight this feeling. I want to understand it. I want to offer it to you. Not as something perfect, but as something real. Sit with me in this uninhabited space of the soul and help me gently fill it again with peace. Let the feeling of belonging return little by little, not because everything changed, but because I allowed myself to begin again from the inside out, with you by my side. Mary, sometimes I catch myself comparing my path to everyone else's. I look around and it feels like the world is rushing, full of certainty, full of victories. And here I am, with slow steps, doubts, and gray days. I try to remind myself that every story has its own time, but honestly, my heart feels behind, as if I missed something along the way and no longer know where I fit. So I ask you, quiet this comparison that hurts me. Help me understand that my journey doesn't need to follow any template, that the value of my time isn't measured by someone else's pace. Even if I'm moving slowly, I'm still moving. And that is enough. Teach me to look at my story with more tenderness, to see myself through your eyes, and in doing so, to find peace in who I am and in where I am. Mary, I try so hard to appear strong. I carry the weight of my days on my shoulders, hiding the cracks, smiling even when all I want is to cry inside. I've been told so many times that I need to be firm that I started to forget. I'm allowed to be vulnerable too. I'm allowed to need comfort, silence, someone who just stays with me without trying to fix me. That's why I come to you, without masks, without defenses, just with this heart that needs to be held. Teach me with you that true strength lives in the courage to be whole, even with flaws. That I don't have to hide my wounds, but offer them to God as soil where He can plant something new. And in your care, Mary, may I feel accepted just as I am, not because I seem strong, but because I am real. Mary, there are days when all I long for is a new beginning, a moment of pause where I could simply breathe and say, it's okay to start over. I carry so much inside me, fears, unspoken stories, promises left unfulfilled, that sometimes I feel stuck in the past, unable to look at the future with lightness. Teach me to let go of what no longer serves me, that I may not cling to what hurts, nor blame myself for what I couldn't change. Help me learn to live with more freedom on the inside, without the weight of needing to please, without the fear of making mistakes. Mary, show me that starting over is not failure, it's faith. Faith that there is still beauty on the road, even after so many turns. Mary, sometimes I carry expectations that were never mine. I try to be what others expect, to live up to what they project, to fill roles that slowly pull me away from my own truth. And the more I mold myself to fit in, the more I lose myself. My heart begins to shrink, suffocated by everything I'm not, until one day the weight becomes too much and I realize I need to come back to myself. Help me unlearn whatever distances me from peace. Give me the courage to be honest with myself, to allow a life that is simpler, more truthful, more free. May your presence remind me that I don't need to be more nor less. I just need to be whole. And in this reconnection with who I truly am, may I come closer to God, who loves me not for who I pretend to be, but for who I am in truth. Mary, there are moments when all I ask for is a little peace. Not the kind that depends on what's outside, but the kind that's born here within, in the very center of the soul. The peace that isn't shaken by what others say, that isn't lost in the noise of the world. The peace of someone who knows they're on the right path, even if the steps are slow and the sky is still cloudy. Teach me to nurture that peace in the small gestures, in the quiet moments of the day, in the waiting that no longer feels heavy. May I learn to trust even when I don't understand, and may that quiet trust be my strength. Let your presence help me build within myself a place I can always return to, a refuge of faith, of gentleness, of truth, a place where the soul rests and begins again. Mary, I know I'm not alone, but sometimes it feels like I am. It's not the absence of people, it's the absence of connection. It's the emptiness that shows up even when voices surround me, as if nothing truly touches me. In those moments, I wonder if anyone sees what I carry inside, if anyone notices beyond what I show, beyond what I'm able to say. That's why I turn to you, the one who sees me deeply. You know me without needing explanations, without me having to hide a thing. And in your gaze so full of love, I begin to believe again that there truly is a place where I belong, where I can be vulnerable without fear, where I can be whole, even in pieces. Stay with me, Mary, and if everything on the outside feels confusing, may I know, deep within, that I am held. Sometimes, Mary, what hurts me most is this constant feeling of trying to get it right, trying to please, trying to be enough. I live as if I have to prove my worth at every moment, as if my existence depends on others' approval. But deep down, what I long for is rest, a space where I can stop trying to be everything and just be. Teach me to trust that my worth isn't in my achievements, nor in how well I hide my flaws. It's in the love with which I was created, in the quiet care God has for me, in your constant presence, even when everything feels empty. May I learn to welcome myself the way you welcome me, with tenderness, with patience, with eyes that see the most beautiful parts of me, even when I can't see them myself. Mary, there are days when I fall silent, not out of peace, but out of fear. Fear of being a burden, of being misunderstood, of seeming too fragile. And in that forced silence, I begin to store everything inside. Desires, sorrows, words that never find a voice. Until my chest feels too full, and I no longer know how to express what I feel, not even to myself. But you teach me that true love doesn't demand explanations, that even my silence can be a prayer when it's offered with sincerity. So here I am, whole, in the little I have to give. Stay with me, even when I don't know how to speak. Your presence already brings relief, and may it be with your patient grace that my voice returns, lighter, truer, and closer to God. Mary, there's a part of me that still waits for things to get better, for life to feel lighter, for some answer to arrive in time. Even when I'm tired, even when I feel adrift, there's a quiet hope within me, like a candle lit in the corner of my soul, and it's that light that keeps me going. Nurture this hope, Mother. Protect this flame so it doesn't go out when everything feels dark. May I never lose the ability to believe, to dream, to trust that goodness will still find its way to me, that the right opportunities will come at the right time, that peace will meet me along the road, and that even when I don't understand why, I'll keep walking in faith, because I know you are with me. Mary, sometimes I feel trapped in cycles, the same thoughts, the same fears, the same emptiness. It's like I keep circling inside myself, never finding a way out. I try to break free, but I feel exhausted before I even begin. What I long for most is something new, a fresh breath, a breeze of hope that carries me forward with gentleness. You, who know the soul's most hidden paths, show me where to go. May your silence guide me when I can't see, and may your love gently push me forward when I no longer have the strength to walk. Grant me the grace not to give up on myself. And if I need to start over 1,000 times, let me always know, in every new beginning, you are there, by my side, with patience and light. Mary, there are moments when I wonder if I'm truly on the right path. The days go by, the struggles continue, and my heart grows weary waiting for signs. It feels like the more I try, the less I see any fruit. And in those moments, doubt whispers, is it still worth it? That's when I ask you, hold me steady. Let me keep planting with faith, even when I see no answers. Let me keep protecting my peace, even without certainty. May your presence remind me that every small step matters, that every act of love counts, even when no one sees, and that moving forward, even with fear, is already an act of courage, and yes, also an act of prayer. Mary, sometimes I just wish I could pause the world for a moment. Silence the voices, the rush, the noise outside and inside. Lay my soul down in a safe place where I don't have to be strong or productive, just be. Because some days simply existing is already hard, and on those days your embrace is missed more than ever. Let me rest for a while. Help me not to feel guilty for slowing down. Let me understand that pausing is also part of the journey, that silence is also a prayer. Stay close to me, Mother. And while the world keeps running, teach me to walk at my own pace with my own rhythm and an open heart. Because I know, even moving slowly, those who walk with you are never still. They are being cared for. Mary, when I look back, I see wounds that still haven't fully healed, words that hurt, absences that left empty spaces, promises that were never fulfilled. I try to move on, I try to forget, but sometimes it all returns. And in those quiet returns, my heart shrinks back, afraid to trust again. Teach me not to rush my pain. Help me treat it with respect, with patience, with compassion. Not to force strength before it's time, nor to close what still needs to breathe. May I find, with you, a space to heal without pressure, a space where love is medicine and time is a blessing. May every part of me that still aches be gently cared for by your tenderness until it begins to bloom again. Mary, sometimes all I need is to believe that better days will come, that this hard season isn't the end of the story, but just a crossing, that even when everything seems still, something inside me keeps growing, stronger, more tender, more ready to begin again. Even without seeing, I want to believe that life is taking root in the dark. So I ask you, stay with me while this change unfolds. Don't let me lose heart on the slow days, or forget that heaven works quietly. Let your presence be the gentle reminder that the light always returns. And when I'm ready, may I look back with gratitude, not for what hurt, but for having made it through with faith. Mary, there is within me a deep longing for lightness. Not the absence of struggles, but that peace that exists even in the midst of strong winds. The kind that doesn't depend on great achievements, but is born from within when the soul aligns with what is true. I've been missing that, waking with a heart at peace, lying down without a weight on my mind. Lead me toward that lightness, Mother. Teach me to let go of what burdens me, old guilt, fears that hold me back, and all that no longer belongs to me. Help me release it and make space for what brings me life. Let me trust that life can be simple, beautiful, and full of quiet miracles. And little by little may I smile again, with sincerity, knowing I'm walking the path of peace. Mary, even when I try to hold my faith steady, there are days when it hides. Not because I've stopped believing, but because the noise of weariness becomes too loud. There are doubts that whisper slowly, fears that disguise themselves as routine. And before I know it, I'm just there, walking, breathing, living, but not really feeling present within myself. So I ask you, don't let me drift away from who I am. Remind me, with your gentle love, that faith doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be honest. That even the tiniest thread of trust is enough for God to reach me. That hope isn't the absence of pain, but the deep knowing that pain won't last forever. And that with every tired step, I might still be walking toward the peace I so deeply seek. Mary, thank you for walking with me this far. Every word spoken, every silence in between has been a sincere attempt to find you and to find myself too. I don't always know what to ask for, I don't always understand what I'm going through, but just knowing you're with me makes everything feel lighter. Life goes on, the challenges don't vanish, but something within me shifts, and that is what holds me up. Today, I don't ask you to take away the difficulties. I ask you to stay with me as I face them. May your presence be a beacon on cloudy nights and a place of rest on aimless mornings. Teach me to trust, even when I don't know where this road will lead. Because if I'm with you, Mary, then I know I never walk alone. If this prayer spoke to your heart, If at any moment you felt comfort, truth, or even just a little more peace, then this channel is also your place. Here, every word is crafted with care, every prayer is an embrace, and each new video is an invitation to reconnect with faith, with hope, and with the gentle lightness we all long for. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and come walk this journey with us. Mary walks by your side, and here you are never alone.